Hi, Eric. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
Good, 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 good. So you actually came back for your
Yes,
second round. Wow.
I feel empowered. I feel like I learned a lot. So I'm back.
He's back. He's back. And
Yeah.
a lot of people say once they go through the first day of my boot camp, first of all, they're scared as I don't know what, and then they say, "But I will be back." And you decided to do the 3-day boot camp, career coaching boot camp. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. And I enjoyed it so
Wow.
far. Yeah.
Well, so far, so far. I
Yeah.
heard that. I heard that little so far. Yeah, I know. The clients that I've dealt with in the past, and some who are in the present, they always feel just a little bit queasy when it comes to the coaching piece because they talk to a lot of career coaches, life coaches. I happen to be a certified life coach, but my background, primary background, is in HR. So I'm always thinking a step ahead when it comes to career development. And I also delve because it's a life skills coach. In terms of your journey, I like to help people navigate both their career and or their life skills journey. So that's why what I do. And I know the first time that we talked on your first day, and we're already up to the second day, and I hope you'll be coming back to complete your coaching boot camp one more day, maybe
I
tomorrow.
will be back.
You'll be back
Definitely.
and
Yeah.
tell other people. What I want you to do is to be able to tell other people about what you've gone through. And most importantly, make sure that you share some of your experience if you think it's helpful for you and others at all professional levels, including executives, etc. That would be really helpful to me.
I will
So
certainly do that.
excellent, excellent. So as I said, welcome, welcome, and welcome back. I really should say I'm Toy Johnson-Vincent. You already know that, but they call me Coach Toy, and I am the no sugar coating coach. And as I told you, I won't sugarcoat it because if you came to my boot camp, you can't be looking for someone to sugarcoat what may be some mishaps on your end. What are you trying to accomplish? How do you want to move forward in your career, which you have a stellar career of well over, over a number of years, maybe somewhere around the 20 something.
Yeah,
But
that's correct.
the fact is that you are looking to increase more visibility. That's what you said in the first time we talked. And I try to help clients be comfortable. And you mentioned something about you feel empowered. So say it
That's
again,
correct.
say it twice,
Yeah. I
empowered.
feel empowered. Yes, I do.
Yay.
I really do.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Good. And so I'm going to go ahead and ask you the question since you brought it up, because today I want to really focus on it's career focus in all three of the pieces of this boot camp. But today is about career or job versus career, the job search versus career search. And many of us will find ourselves, unfortunately, in the job market, not really prepared for the next step or the next level and where they need to be. And you can be at the real top of your game, an executive level, but you still have some missing pieces, if you know what I mean. So it's really important to understand how to keep your pieces together so that when you find yourself, if you find yourself looking or you're in a search, then it helps you in the long run to be prepared. So that's why people kind of seek out. And I always ask people, and I'll ask you this too. What was your major reason for even reaching out to me as a coach? And again, we are focusing on career and life skills journey, but more so career development in your case. What made you reach out to a coach or to me or a coach in general?
Um, like I said in the first meeting, in the first boot camp, majority of what I do are in the background. Even though I talk to a lot of carriers, they are still in the background at the end of the day. So I want to be more visible
Yeah.
and probably get more noticed in the social media, especially the LinkedIn, which I neglected for a while. So that's why I wanted to come to this meeting, this boot camp, for you to show me things that I may have been missing for the past several years. Because once you have a job, you think everything's all set, but networking is a lifelong process.
You said
So,
hashtag networking.
yeah, it's a lifelong process. So I need to be able to do that. It's tasking, but it's fulfilling as well.
Right.
So, but for the first few days, so what you've shown me, is exhausting, but it was great, to experience that. Yeah.
And have you been networking? So you already started using some of the tools that we talked about. You actually applied the tools, and if so, how so?
Oh yes, now I've applied the tools and I've posted, I think one post. They have liked, I've shared posts from other professionals, and increase my vocabulary as well. Instead of saying within the no thanks, yes thanks, or whatever, you just have to write something out. So which is very.
You mean elaborate? You just sort of expanded your response. Yeah.
Yes, the response was supposed to just click in. That's a quick way, to just say yes, thanks, awesome. But you have to expand it. So that's I've learned, so much in so little time, which is great. So I thank you for that.
Yeah, and you're welcome. And not only that, if you expanded something, that means you increased your visibility, because I have to assume, are people responding, or did people respond to your post? And
they are responding. It's overwhelming, so you have to go back and just look at that. And the response is not just, sometimes you have to respond to the response, so right. It's tasking, but it's great.
It is. And guess what that's called? It's called social media.
Yes.
And it's called social media for a reason, because people are being social. And on the, I assume you was referring to your LinkedIn profile, which is where more of the professionals will post resumes. They'll look for career advice. They'll seek out a coach such as myself and things like that. And at all levels, even entry level, people who are just coming out of college. And before they even graduate high school, they have LinkedIn accounts. So, it's not a game. People are out there. And if you want visibility, they're starting as early as in the high schools. They're teaching social media. You have graduates, you have well before you get to the 12th grade here, but then they start to put the pieces together. You have advisors, career advisors that will visit the schools. So we're all in some capacity. You may feel uncomfortable at the moment. I know we talked about it. You're not really on social media. You don't have 4 and 5 social media profiles, and you're kind of sticking with that one right now with LinkedIn. But that's a great way, because again, if you happen to be in a job search and really trying to elevate your career, then you need to go with the people that are kind of doing the same thing. They're on a platform pretty much doing the same thing. And then you have to be careful of your time. So I'm going to ask you, because we're going to get right into career focus versus a job focus, meaning if all you're looking for is a job, that's probably the easiest part. But if you're looking for a career and to elevate your career, now you're talking personal development, you're talking professional development, and it's not the same. Looking for the job, you find yourself, you're clicking a button, you click the button. That's what most people do. And they say, let it go. They click the button and they say, well, my resume has gone to multiple, or potential directors of HR managers, and anyone else that's affiliated with staffing agencies and all of those things. So that's the easiest part. And I'm sure, have you noticed a button on the called Easy Apply? You've seen that out there, right? You're familiar with that? Yes. Right. And so if at some point when you decide, you say, well, you know what, I'm going to apply for an opportunity, but when you're applying, it's Easy Apply, but make no mistake about it. If you're on LinkedIn, it's not necessarily going to be 100% easy to connect with people, because pressing a button doesn't mean you really connected. And if you get an opportunity, you press the easy button, and then you try to follow up with the employer. Then you start to get more visibility. You have your resume, able to upload it and such. So that, have you, I know that we're not talking about whether or not you're in a job search. We're talking for you, we're talking about elevating your career. So that's the kind of client that you are. And if you're in a job search, that's private, so I won't even ask you. Right. But the job search versus career, again, the job, you can go on to many platforms, not just LinkedIn. You may have joined a Facebook group where you get a lot of professionals as well from different companies. And I don't know if you decide at some point, maybe not now, but you may decide, well, you know what, I think I want to go a little bit more on the social side of things instead of always on the professional side, just to get people to know you a little bit more about your personality, you know, that kind of thing. And then it's really like a more humor side, but then they do have the groups. In your case, you do electronic data interchange, focusing on so many tools, benefits, enrollment. So you can search out those groups. Just look for them.
Yes, I used to attend a few about I would say 3 before the pandemic. I used to attend a few groups, but since the pandemic, I've probably laid off a little bit, you know. So I need to get back in, you know, to search the internet to see where the groups are now. You know, of course, there's still COVID, so I'm not going to go in. I'm just going to do, you know, I want to see any virtual, you know, users groups, you know, that meets, you know, on a regular basis. So
yeah,
those are the things I'm looking for now, you know, and of course, continue to network, right. Which network is a lifelong process. So just continue to do that, you know. And for the past few days, a couple of executives have reached out to me based on my network, you know. One of them called me today, you know, and, you know, I mean, I'm talking about, you know, executives. So, you know, it works, you know, your bootcamp works.
Yeah. And that's because, first of all, we talked about getting your name out there and asking people. This is one thing that I tell clients: you get absolutely nothing if you don't ask. So if you're laid back, if your whole thing, and we all have different personalities, but if you like to take the more laid back approach, you're going to find it may take you a little bit longer to step up your game. And so you do have to be somewhat aggressive, but yet assertive. And it doesn't mean aggressive in the negative way, just meaning, wow, I need to jump on this, I need to jump on that, and at that point, it's all about time management. And as I said, you have one more coaching session where I promised, I said we were going to do a mock interview in case you ever need a mock interview, because so many things have changed. A lot of my clients, they've been working for 20, 30 years in one job. And so the Zoom platform and how to navigate Zoom, how to navigate a chat in a Zoom, how to turn on Zoom, how to show their video in Zoom, how to get their audio to work. What about the mouse, the screen, you know, the background, all of that. People have issues just coming on this one platform. And I tell them, if you're going to be visible, you will make mistakes, but you right? So
yeah, definitely, you know.
There you go. I'm sure you've made a few, right?
Oh yeah, one thing you shouldn't do is to be afraid to make mistakes. You make mistakes, you know, you fail forward, you know, you remember that, and then you correct yourself, you know. So that's how you gain experience in doing things.
Now, what did you say? Did you say fail?
Fail forward.
Fail forward.
Yeah, you fail, then you don't repeat the same thing because you already figured out what the issue was, you know, why you failed. So that means, you know, yeah, next time when you see that, you know what to do. So.
Wow, fail forward. So that may be a hashtag. That sounds like a hashtag to me. Fail forward. Yeah, you might want to put that in the chat. But that's the thing, is that it can seem almost overwhelming, especially if you've been out of that realm. If you were only focusing on the job that you've done for so many years, and you tend to get comfortable. And I tell my clients, I kind of show them how to navigate that piece. One thing I tell them, and then I show them, and I want to know, how do you really navigate? If you said, well, I'm more of an introverted type of individual, but at work I'm fine, and you always, you can chat it up at work, and you can count on your colleagues, and if you worked in a team environment, all is well. But essentially, when you're a tech professional, a lot of tech professionals work remotely, so that they don't even realize they're not as engaging as one could and should be on outside of the current workplace space. And that's where you start to get into trouble. So you have all of these years of experience, but you have no engagement with other professionals other than the ones that you work with. And that can actually fuel the fire for, wow, who, there was a song, who can I turn to, who, where, and what, and you're scrambling to try to make things work, but it may take some time. And what I mean by all of that jargon is, you want to build your network,
right,
not only on your experience, which it stands and speaks for itself, because you're a true consummate professional EDI wise, right?
Thank you. Yeah.
There you go. You're welcome. And then and raising hands and shout out to that. And for any employees out there who are saying, hey, wait a minute, what does this guy do? Fantastic. We are interested in talking to him. That's what happens throughout career. People will call you when you're not even looking.
Yeah, that happened today, believe it or not. Today,
right.
I got a call today.
Excellent.
And I'm like, I don't know, this thing seems familiar. Let me pick it up, It's been a while. And it was somebody that was referred.
Yes.
Yeah.
Somebody referred your name out there. Yeah, your name is out there.
My name. And executive referred my name, and he called,
Wow.
We had a good conversation, so.
Excellent. So you've had some really good progress, and basically the reason why you decided to really tap into a coach is because you were looking to figure out ways how to navigate even outside of the workplace, as well as gaining that visibility in the career space in general for your own professional development. Yes. Okay. Yep. So you got that personal and professional, but a mixture. Okay, excellent. Because one of the things too, and this is something you write down. So let me just give you, we always talk about things, but I'm going to go ahead and give you about 3 different tips today on how that you can, and you heard the word leverage. You will hear people use the word leverage a lot in all industries. And they use that, and what they mean by that is that you're leveraging all of that experience and you're taking it, it's almost like taking it to the marketplace. The market means nothing if you can't afford to buy, right? You'll see a lot of things, you go somewhere and say, oh, I can't afford that. Oh, that's too expensive. But now you say, wait a minute, what if you turned that around and you were the one who was actually doing the selling? In this case, you have to remind yourself that someone told me years ago, they said, you know what? And I said, no, I'm not a salesperson. And they said, everyone is a salesperson. It doesn't matter what your job, your current job is, or your future job will be. But you have the sales capacity, and it's up here. It's right here. It starts in the mindset and works its way down to the heartstrings. And so you understand, number one, who you are, like capital Y-O-U, and then you'll be able to navigate much better, whether you're introverted or extroverted kind of personality. That's it. And you'll get a match. You will have more and more executives, even like yourself. But when you're talking executives, you mean senior executives, people that you undoubtedly more than likely will report into. Okay, because you're already, executive in your own right. And you don't have to manage a group or team to be an executive. Most often we think of it even as salary oriented. executive. So, but for you, you would be reporting into a senior executive, and I got you. And that's
Yeah.
great that they try to connect to you and just reaching out to say, hey, I heard about your background. Are you, well, maybe you're not available, you're not on the market. So, but you had a conversation.
Yes.
And so what's going to happen is tip number one, to move you closer to your goal in terms of more visibility. Number one, make sure you have created the ultimate profile on your LinkedIn. And what I mean by that, you go back and look at, and it will tell you what is the actual strength of your profile. I've done it, and they'll say star and all this stuff, right? Some will say intermediate. If yours says intermediate, you know the goal is to get to proficient or star level. That means you have more eyes on your resumes, more eyes on your profile, if you will. So even if you aren't in the job market, people sometimes they'll just send you messages through your DM.
Yeah.
From all over the globe, in fact. So, and just saying, oh, I have an opportunity, or we have a group, maybe you want to be on a board, or one of our board members, we have a user group, we're just starting up a user group. And by the way, you can start your own user group.
Yeah, I was thinking about that the other day. You guys should start mine,
You can start your own user group. And so if you decide to do that, did you have a name in mind?
No, I haven't gotten to that point yet.
Okay, well, if you just think about what you do and how starting a user group may help you and other people out there. They don't have to be in a job search. It's just that you have something in common. And then if somebody just happens to find themselves in need of a new opportunity, then you can network with each other, swap resumes and share resume and information, and maybe you help each other. You just never know. The only interesting part about that, you may actually wind up reporting into the person that you showed their name out there. So anything can happen. But as long as it's all good, it's all good.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. Look at your profile, not your resume, because you don't really have to upload a resume on LinkedIn. You just can share your resume, quietly with any employer anytime that you wanted to. And that's what most people do anyway. If your profile does say open to work, that's why people will contact you. Which I think you already know that, so we're not getting into that today. That's obvious. And that's a new feature over the last couple of years. It wasn't always on there, so which is great. I do that. I keep it open to work on my profile because I'm in the coaching realm, and I'm absolutely interested in gaining more clientele. So again, for groups, to coach groups, corporations, for-profit and nonprofit. And that's why I do it. Okay. And also to support other people. Like you said, if you're the EDI, electronic data interchange guru, professional, whatever you want to call it yourself, hey, you can connect with other EDI professionals as well, even more senior level than yourself.
Yes.
To learn. And that's the way you can just do that. Say, hey, I see we have something in common. Just trying to connect with other EDI professionals. If you're aware of other user groups, because and where you're going to share that kind of information, which is not too much information. They can see your profile. It's not like they say in the old days. It's not personal. It's just business.
Right.
And that's what that means. The second tip today, because I said I'm going to give you 3. The second one is, well, first of all, do you have any questions or comments from anything we've said so far?
No, so far so good. No comments or questions. Everything is on point.
Okay. And what about in the LinkedIn? So you got all of that? And
yes, I do.
No comments. Okay.
Yeah.
And then the second one is going to be about, and this tip is kind of interesting because what you want to really have, and as I said, even this coaching is about focus. And if you have a hard time focusing on a lot of things, which it can happen to me and anybody else, we tend to get overwhelmed because there's too much going on all at once. In life, as a life coach, life hits you all at once. It doesn't say, hey, this is a great day to just run right into, Eric Vincent's world and upset his world. That's not, that it's just, life just hits you in all kind of ways, whether it's from a healthcare perspective, a pandemic perspective, personal, family, business, it doesn't matter. We all are something is going to come at us when we least expect. And it's how you handle it, how you respond to it, that's going to be make or break of how you turn around. And I always say #resilience. So to learn more about that. So essentially what you want to do is what I say to avoid all of that stuff where it doesn't become overwhelming. Career focus means you're in preparation all of the time. Gain some insight on how to be prepared for whatever may come ahead in your career. And that could include job loss. It can include downsizing. It can include whatever you want to say it, that puts you in the market of looking at other opportunities, right? Because like I said, most people get so comfortable, they're never really looking for anything. And it just doesn't, like, oh, it doesn't apply to me because I'll always be at this one particular place, whether it's entry level, mid, senior, etc. Including executives. A lot of executives may come upon and say, no, I'm good. Everything looks good. You're doing wonderful. And then all of a sudden something in life, you may come upon finding yourself in a job search that you weren't prepared. Your resume hadn't been updated in years, or you've done absolutely zero on the networking format. And so what it is you want to get out. That tip is to network more to gain even more visibility. Let people know who you are, really, like, who are you really? Not what's on your resume, but who is Mr. Vincent?
Right.
And what is he all about in terms of career? Because they may not be friends. They don't have to be friends. Again, it's not personal, it's just business. So, but they learn a little bit more, they can chip away, and then you'll decide who you want to bring in your networking circle. So the tip for number 2 is an addendum to it. That's number 1, you're building that profile so that to be more attractive to the eyes of the executives out there that are looking for people with your background. You go in, you update, make sure you want to get that profile to say expert, or I forget what it says. I know that it's intermediate, so it must be proficient or star or star.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I do.
So that's what we're going to do. And that's a suggestion. And then the other thing is make sure that you respond. Your response time is important. Now, it doesn't mean that you drop everything that you're doing, because you have to actually deal with time management. Time management is really important as you are trying to gain visibility. And what I mean by that, maybe you're going to set up 3 or 4 Zoom calls in one day.
Right.
To connect with people. Maybe you decide you want to host your own Zoom meeting, right? And now, you can host video chats and meetings right through LinkedIn. You don't even have to do it through Zoom.
Yes, I know.
And you send them the invite and talk about your experience as an EDI professional. And maybe somebody else has a lot of advice on, hey, have you ever thought about this? And have you ever experienced this within your EDI world, if you will? And then you might say, no, I don't know about this program. I've never heard about that. Wow. Oh, there's a conference coming up. Somebody wants to invite you. So these are the things why visibility, like you said, is really important. And it'll happen. You're going to start seeing your calendar should be going up. Like
it is going up, and jotting things down as you speak, which some of those things I know to do, but is when to just get up and do it. That's really what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
what we don't want to do is be a procrastinator
Right.
when you're talking about visibility, because if you think about it, that's apples and oranges. It doesn't make sense. It's like, well, I want to be visible on one hand, but I'm
I don't have time.
procrastinating or I'm slow to respond to another. I mean, you have to make a decision
Right.
about how serious you want to be portrayed and what is your profile really saying to potential employers or just groups in general that you want to learn more about them. Because again, you don't have to
Right.
be in a job search to be visible. You do not.
Right.
But
So that's why I came to this boot camp to listen to it again and just hammer it in my head, over and
yeah,
over and over again,
good,
It's a long
good.
process, but
It is. It is.
yeah.
Any comments or questions on the first two tips? I know it's kind of elongated, but anything
Right.
I said that you want to recap or a question or not sure of?
No,
Things.
I'm good. I'm sure of everything you said. Everything you said is on point,
What do you
which
struggle with most out of whatever we talked about today? Anything stands out for you that you say, I really wish I can just nail this?
more of the response on the social media. Really, I said,
Okay.
oh, somebody sent you something. So okay, I'll get to it later. Somebody else sent you something, but
Mhm.
you never get to it. The next day, then it builds up. Then by the time you know it, you never really responded to them. So
Mhm.
those are the issues. Maybe
Yeah.
being too busy or too, you say, oh, I'll get it later. Procrastination, maybe, it could be a combination of both. But
Right.
that's the main thing that I struggle with. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And how you counteract that is you take things in chunks and bits and pieces, like you'll hear, not a coach doesn't have to tell you that, but
Right.
that's why I'm here. And I will tell you, because I'm the no sugarcoating coach and I won't sugarcoat it. I'm going to tell you, just do it.
Yes.
Nike has
Absolutely.
their own logo, just
Right.
do it. And my logo is just do it even more and
Right.
maintain a level of get things on your calendar. What can help you with that is in business in general is basically create a calendar or a timeline. You say, you know what, on Mondays and Tuesdays, I'll focus on this. Because when you're working that traditional 9 to 5,
Right.
right? If you're not an entrepreneur with your own business, then you're working at a traditional 9 to 5 at someone else's business, and you have to create the time slot for maybe it's after work on your personal time to say, I'm going to follow up 2 days a week with all of the emails that have come to me, maybe about user groups or there's a conference. I mean, obviously conferences don't wait for you. So you
Right.
have to be time conscious in terms of the date when you want to sign up for a particular conference, and a lot of it is virtual and you don't want to miss them, or a webinar
Right.
or
I
a
agree.
coaching session.
Right. Yeah. That's why I'm
Right.
here for 3
So
days.
that's right. So make sure that's important for you to just make sure that you get that down,
Right.
in terms of being able to minimize the stress, maximize the visibility, minimize the stress, maximize the visibility. And that means organized. That means being organized. You ever walk into someone's office and they have so many things all around, scattered all over their desk?
Oh yeah.
No names, please. Just
I know.
say, have you ever seen it?
Right. I've seen
In
it.
an office space, especially. Right.
I've
And
seen
you
it.
say, wow, what did you think when you saw that? To anybody, when you were working inside of the office?
I think a lot of people sometimes they feel when you go in there and see that kind of everything all over the place,
Mhm.
they think people think it makes them feel like they are very busy,
Yeah,
but that's not the case. That means they're unorganized to me,
to
but
you,
to
to the
me, yeah,
average person. Yeah.
because it looks like they are unorganized, but I think they want to feel that they are very, very busy. That's why they have everything all scattered around them,
Mhm.
and you think, people will get the impression that they're busy. But
Okay.
for me, if I see that, that means you're unorganized,
Well, that's what your thought is. That's
Yeah.
what you get out of it.
Yeah.
But there's such a thing called organized chaos. because I too can have many papers scattered all at once. But because we all can learn differently, and we are different anyway as individuals. Some of us, we work better with everything around us. And if you move something, So, but again, it could be considered organized chaos, meaning a lot of those people are very much so at the top of their game in their organizations.
Right.
With all the scatteredness, right? So
Yeah.
with that said, that's why I said, but I would say coaching wise, I would challenge you to have your things down, utilize your computer calendar. That's what it's there for. It's so easy and it's free. And every time somebody invites you to something and they're sending you an invite, and so you can respond, or they're showing you an opportunity arises, whether you're on the market or not, it doesn't matter. I get them in my inbox all day. Don't have to be on the market for people to think about you, saw your profile and said, oh, you would be an awesome person, love your background, that kind of thing. And they usually shoot you a DM in your inbox, or, something like that. Or if they had your email, they just send it. They don't know you, but they're just looking at your background and saying, wow, this would be fantastic. And so with that said, you can't respond to every single thing. But what you don't want to miss some things that are important. So I say you take the 2 days, every single day, really, you should be looking to make sure that you didn't miss something in your inbox. And this goes for whether you're working or not, just to help you keep organized and start deleting things that you absolutely will not and do not need.
Yeah.
Because when we talk about clutter and scattered and everything, you say most of the things, if you ever say, oh, I'm going to, tidy up my office better and everything, and then you find a paper that you've had from like 20 years ago, and you're like, I didn't shred that document yet, or something like that. So that's the kind of organized where you notice, or your inbox is so, you got 4,000 emails, and at least maybe 500-600 of them were never open. So to move your career forward and to elevate your game, you want to be organized from your home office, or if you're working in an office, you want to start doing that as effective as today. But take it in chunks. Go in and you look at them. You can read. If you decide to open the email, a lot of times you can see the subject already. It may be from the same person. They're just sending you 3 or 4 things. If someone is sending you opportunities and you have no real interest, all you need to do is let them know in a very professional and kind way. And so, because not everybody's on the market, or not everybody's interested in relocating, not everybody's right. So that way, then you let them know in their inbox, hey, great, I got these things from you. I'm listening, I've looked at them, but at this time, my interest is focus and attention is elsewhere. And if things should change, I'll let you know. That's how you deal with that.
Right.
Okay. And the very last tip. So we're talking about, your second tip was all about organizing, keeping it together, taking bits and pieces and chunks daily, so that you're not waiting until the end of the week trying to respond to so many inbox and DMs, right? So you can jot those things down however you want to. And then we got the last one before we close. And I would say, because again, career focus versus job focus. When we're talking about a job, if we're in a job search, I find that a lot of the clients will, they'll go backwards. Basically, they're looking for the same opportunity, the same exact thing that mirrored what they just came out of, good or bad. The good, the bad, and the ugly. They will go back to it. Do you know why?
Because that's where they're comfortable at. They don't want to do something else. They don't want to learn something else. They're probably scared.
Fear.
Overwhelmed. And say, okay, I got to get something. And that's what they know. That's, but they need to just relax a little bit and just think. That's the way I look at it.
Yep. You said 2 things. One thing you said was fear. Well, you said scared, but I said fear. And then you said something else.
Overwhelmed.
Overwhelmed.
Right.
Yeah.
And when something comes along, that's what they know. So they don't want to think about anything else. They say, oh, okay, that's what I know. I'm gonna go. I'm comfortable with this. Let me go in. But in life, you got to face challenges. Regardless of what it is.
How would you describe your time management skills?
My time management skills is
over the years in your professional career.
I think it's great, because I actually use the calendar a lot. So everything is organized in that way. But like you said earlier, the social media, you do 9 to 5, then you come home, you're too tired, you saw something on the internet or on social media, you won't say, oh, you procrastinate and say you want to respond the next day, but you don't. Then it piles up. By the time you know it, you have so many things that you haven't responded to. So that's the issue right there.
Right.
And for you to be visible, you have to be able to continue to do that. It's a lifelong process, and like you said, yesterday, you have to continue to do that. You have to follow up with people. You have to network with people. You have to respond and, post, do so many things that, is done on the social media.
And you had a lot of progress from your first.
Yeah, I do. I really do. From the first, for the past couple of days, it's been overwhelming in a nice way. You know what I mean? Because there's so many things coming at you that you're responding and they're coming back and, just going on. And the executives are reaching out too, Okay, so, it works. We just have to do it.
You just have to do it. But remember, being overwhelmed and fear is not going to help anybody. So the reality is we have to kind of little chip away at that and just you have to make sure that you are tackling the real issue at hand. And that is, the better your time management is, the less overwhelming, whether you're in a job search or career search, or not. Because the life skill part of it, which I am a certified life coach, the no sugarcoating coach, which I tell everybody all the time, that's the truth. Because I've heard people, especially at your level, professional level, they've always said one thing. Well, I do it all. I answer my phone, I respond this, I respond right away, I this and then guess what? 10 years later, 5 years down the road, they are burned out.
I agree. Yeah. In business, first of all, with me in particular, I respond to everything. That's the way I'm wired. If you send me an email, believe it or not, if it requires a response, you get a response. If I'm researching things and I reached out, wait a couple of days, there's no response, and I see a phone attached to that email, I'm going to call that number. And 90% of the time, I always know I'm successful doing that. 95% of the time, so successful doing that. These days, they don't do that anymore. You just send an email and wait, let them respond to you, follow up again and again and again. You see a number there, why don't you call that number? They put that number in there, for a reason. So I call that number, 99% of the time I get what I want, in terms of my research. So that's, I don't know if that's good or bad.
Well, obviously, the good part about it is that you have a quick response. You're a rapid responder. You are one of what we call a rapid responder. And companies, corporations really like that because you don't let things get by you or pass by you very easily without addressing it. And when you're if you consider yourself a problem solver?
Which I am, yes, I am.
Okay.
Yeah, a great one, as a matter of fact.
Why do you believe you're a great one?
Because any issues that arise, I always tackle it. If I don't have an answer to it, I reach out to people that may have an answer to it. I make sure that the issue is resolved. And most of the time I get, the answers. If it's not directly from me, it's from somebody else that knows the answer. So yeah, there's no problem that has been done, that has gone unresolved by me.
Mhm.
That's the way I look at it. I follow up with people. How
Mhm.
did you come about this? I just don't want an answer from the person that I reach out to say, oh, it's all set. No, how did you do it? So that next time I don't have to call you.
Yeah.
And that's how you gain the experience,
Mhm.
And most of the time I get my answers.
Well, same thing with social media. You can reach
Right.
out there. What will happen is sometimes with social media, we have to keep in mind that people are in different time zones. So
Right.
if people are trying to connect, you may find yourself going to conferences you want to attend, but now you've worked all day and you're
Right.
exhausted. And so now you missed that. But most often they will set up the recording. So even if for you to be able to come back or listen to it later, and that's why they ask you for your email and all of this. And they'll say recorded will be available to you, and they'll send it in your email, because they realize even though they're on LinkedIn, which is millions of people on there, you have to imagine not everybody will fall into that time frame where they say, well, I can't make it, or they're just exhausted, or they're tired, or they're busy with family and friends, or what have you, and they don't want to take that time specific to the date of the event, and they go back. So in this case, where it's not going to be more overwhelming, the time management will start with one page of, okay, on 2 days, I'm going to, or 3 out of the, 3 out of 7 days, even 4 out of 7 days, I'm going to tackle the social media, right? And at least on 2 days a week, I'm going to go back into my inbox just to make sure I didn't miss anything, because it's either coming in your inbox, and typically if you're on LinkedIn, that means you get something in your inbox. 9 times out of 10, it's coming to your email address. And then you open it and you say, oh, that's not whatever, I'm not interested in whatever they're talking about. And then you address it right there. You don't leave it there. So you say, oh, I'll come back next week. I'll come back. So now you take a couple of days to go back into your inbox, refreshing your screen. You didn't miss anything. And a lot of it is just honestly junk and spam, even though we utilize the tool, but you can get a lot of junk and spam because people know that they do have access to mostly everyone, right? So if it's me, okay, great. I'm going to go ahead and send something and say, hey, how are you? Are you available for a Zoom call? Are you This is what I do. I'm a podcast host, and people will recognize what I do. They'll look at your profile, and then all of a sudden you're like, okay, so they did respond or they didn't respond. It depends on whatever is going on at that time. So, but the person that's trying to keep time management and keep organized and being resilient to be able to bounce back from whatever's going on in your life, you may have a lot of other busyness. Your job cannot be your life. Your career cannot necessarily be your life. A lot of people, that's all they have. And so what happens when that's not there anymore? Now what? So the networking is important. It's lifelong, like you said it at the beginning. It's a lifelong learning process. And you're a process kind of a person. If you're doing EDI, you're processing all day long, daily. Right? So,
yes, I do.
So that means you already know how it works. So you're a step above the game, where a lot of people, that process means absolutely nothing to them. They just know, oh, I'll call you whenever. No, you schedule a time, get some times available to connect with people, so that if you're choosing the time, you don't have to worry about it, because all they're doing is responding to you. So if you want to develop a user group, maybe on LinkedIn, many people can help you do that. And then not only, and I can probably do that as well. The other thing I want to tell you about LinkedIn, leverage LinkedIn. That's what we're talking about. Leverage your career focus, elevated. You want to write an article. 3 or 4 paragraphs, just start typing about, your career in electronic data interchange. If you've been in the game for well over a decade or 10 years and so forth, I'm sure that there's been so many changes when you first started in your career, right? And some of the joys in the career and your journey. And that's a great way. And then you share the article. When we say article on LinkedIn, they mean whatever you're writing, you publish it. and you share it.
Yeah.
Right. And then
Yes.
the second thing is you can start a users group. I guarantee you probably have about 100 people want to join your group, but you have to be prepared to set
To
up
put
the
in the time.
meeting, create the time. Well, you can say, I mean, if it's 30 minutes,
Right.
30 minutes is 30 minutes. You don't have to do 45 minutes. But now you have people, all eyes on you, listening to what you have to say. If there's something great going on, or people just want who can tell them they can offer their expertise in your field. What are some of the new things that they're doing in EDI across all industries? Because 834 is different from 854 and so on and so forth.
Right.
And then you just write anybody that has their background in EDI or any other professional that would like to share some of their thoughts and how things are going. And
Yes.
some people may be in a job search and say, this is a great way. Oh, can I send you my resume? Can I, and all of a sudden it's going to be, the OEV show.
That's
right?
correct.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's it. And then that's how you do it. And so take the time, structure your time, 2 to 3 days a week. You may want to focus on, rebranding, if you will, your LinkedIn profile, double circle back at least 2 out of those, and to say, did I miss something? They come in your inbox, in your email. And so with that said, if you miss it in the email, if you're on LinkedIn, you're going to see it in the messenger. You can't lose. You can't lose. And by the way, if you're ever trying to communicate with multiple people, like say for an invite you want to develop, maybe you want to do a Zoom or whatever you want to do.
Right.
You can go right to your inbox and say, I don't have time to send everybody individually an invite.
Right.
You can send multiple names at the same time, or you can say, just send to all contacts.
Yep.
See, and so that's how you can do that. And then you're on their platform. Right. And so I think it may open up in Google or something like that. I could be wrong. But anyway, they have different features for video conferencing call. You can do it right there, just as long as you're logged in to your LinkedIn, and then you share the invite. And now you have the platform and people can talk right at the same time about whatever you want to talk, and make sure you give it a name, a title, what have you. And you say, wow, that's it. So that's the wrap up for today. Any questions, comments on any of the tips? Is there one over the other that you say you might struggle with that, or not clear? No, you need more clarity about it. And overall, what are your thoughts on career focus versus job focus as we are ending the session?
First of all, I want to thank you for this bootcamp. It's been so helpful. And I don't have any comment because everything that you said, I jotted them down. So to follow up, and do it. So I'll follow up. I'm sure you're going to ask me again and reach out to me to ask the same thing. Yeah, I plan on doing this because I have to make it worthwhile by going in there and committing to that. Like I said, it's taxing, but it's doable. It's a continuous thing. You have to just get used to it. But, excuse me. In terms of questions, I don't think I have any questions today. We're still meeting tomorrow anyway. So if I have anything I can think of, I'll let you know. But everything that you said today, I have it written down. So I'm going to follow up, and just go from there.
Right, and that's good. And then you should have more progress like you've had. And thanks for sharing your progress, because as a client, that's what coaches are looking for, progress. Well, we're hopeful that you are gaining some progress points in the upward and direction.
Yes, I am.
Not down, but upward direction. Because if that's not happening, then we need to reevaluate as someone is coaching you, what works and what doesn't. And
I am. I've seen progress in the last few days based on what we talked about, based on what I've done, and I can't thank you enough for letting me be on this platform.
Oh, great. Okay, well, Eric, it was good to see you again. And
Thank you.
again, if you have any questions, you have my email address. You may get stuck on, and like I said, it's really one day at a time. Social media has been around for many years, but you weren't a part of it. But guess what? You are now.
Yes, I am.
And you're going to do great. And it's just, don't worry about it. People, this is a 24, one thing about social media, what you forgot there, it's 24/7.
Right, I know.
So it's like a New York subway. It just doesn't stop and it doesn't close. Right. So if you didn't get to somebody today, it'll be there tomorrow.
Yeah.
And some things for the good and some things for the things you can say, well, I'm not interested in whatever anyway. And that includes people that you may or may not want to connect to, just based on their profile. It just is not a match. You have to understand that you don't just click the button and say add. You real, you'll be a 500, 600 contact and you don't even know who you're adding to. You want to add people that will add value to what your goals are.
Right.
So if people in your life skills journey or your career journey, a job search, if that indeed is the case, you want to be able to add people, places, and things of value. And with that said, thank you very much. And I appreciate your time. And of course, I'm Coach Toy and I'm always looking out for my clients. So as I said the other day, if I see something, I send it your way. It is up to you as the client to continue forward with, acting on that or reacting to a particular opportunity or a conference or whatever I see that may be of value to you in the end, right? Because that's how we do. That is called networking.
Networking,
that's what we do. And there it is, summed up. So on three, today we're going to elevate. Are you ready? On three, we're going to say elevate. That's what you're trying to do, right? Okay. 1, 2, 3. Elevate. Elevate. Okay.
Elevate.
All right.
Thank you.
Make sure people can hear you in the back. 1, 2, 3. Elevate.
Elevate.
There you go. And then on 3 again, we're going to go with network. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Network. All right. I'm going to do it again. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Network. Bam. Okay. There you go. All right.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
You're welcome. Have a great one, Mr. Vincent.
You too.
Bye now.
I'll see you tomorrow, actually. Bye.
That is correct. We will resume tomorrow. You will be at the close of your boot camp coaching session. And I appreciate the shout out on social media. Bye for now.
No problem. Yeah. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.